Hey guys, remember to visit arsenalmod.com to get all the remaps, either static remapping or programmable, for all the latest consoles. Remember to go to arsenalmod.com. Hey guys, welcome to the static remap install video. So you could check out our previous video on the teardown to get to this step here where we have the motherboard of the controller now out and ready for us to mod. One thing I do want to note is our remap board will do most of the buttons except for the triggers and the bumpers. So L2, this top one here, and this bumper here, L1. So to do those, you could actually solder onto points here. So this one and this one, and I believe this is L1, this is L2 on this side, and for the other one this is the most difficult on the R2 R1 side, R1 in R2. So this is R1, and then the next one is like kind of in there near this screw, so it's right here. You can't really see that well, but once you have your controller open, you can see. I don't recommend that you use those for static buttons that you want to use on the back. When we have the programmable remap out, we may have a solution there for you to use, or you may have to solder on there, but we'll see when we're ready. We should have that out in the coming few weeks, maybe 1 or 2 weeks from now. So going back to the install, so once you reach this point, I think we left off with this board out like that. So you just have to disconnect this guy here at the top, and then this board will come out. So just make sure all the connections are off this board, then it'll just fold over like so. So when you're at this point, here's our remap board, and you could install this by simply putting it on this side. So you have 2 holes, just like the previous remaps, and that should hold it in place. And then you just fold it over once you're done the install. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in here. Okay, so that's in. Then we're gonna basically go in reverse and put it back together. So at this point, I've just sped up the video to not bore you guys with the reassembly, but basically putting the board back and connecting all the connectors back where they belong. So one thing to note here is our board does not include the L3 and R3 connections. So we provided a picture here where you can see how to make those connections yourself if you want to hardwire a button to those. So you can see in the picture here, we have R3 on the left side and L3 on the right side, and the corresponding grounds. So let's put the battery holder back. So just line it up with the screw hole. Make sure you get this ribbon cable back in. Make sure everything's seated properly. Then we'll get our screw. There. Don't over tighten. So now let's put the battery back. Plug it in, just like you would. Make sure it fits in there. Now you got your board available. So your board here, you have cross, circle, square, triangle, and then the up, down, left, right, and then the ground points. And at this point, you pretty much have what you need to remap. Just solder on the points you need here. You could just drill holes and put the buttons in here, and put your buttons in, and then you're all set. So we'll begin the actual soldering of the wires to the mod. So we'll flip this around. What you want to do is make sure you secure this by some double-sided tape onto the battery. And I prepped my wire here, so you get wire with our mod, and I've just taken off the insulation on the ends. You could also use flux. So flux you could find at electronics stores. Even I think hardware stores will have it. And just use a Q-tip. Just kind of dab. Here. We'll clean out some of that. So I've sped up the video here so you don't have to watch me solder, but some tips is to make sure you are soldering at around 750 degrees Fahrenheit, and you want to be very quick when applying the solder and when tinning the contacts. You want to make sure you tin the contacts that you want to solder to, and then you want to apply solder to your soldering iron when connecting the wires, and you should be all set. Just be quick. If you hold for too long, the contacts may come off, just because that's how flex board works. It's not meant to be soldered onto for very long, so just be careful when soldering, and you should be all set. Okay, so now we will solder on the buttons. For the buttons here, what we've done is we've actually just cut off two and just make diagonal connections. The only reason we do diagonal is just because it gives you more distance from the connections so they don't short. You could do them side by side if you like. So let's go ahead and start soldering. So I've gone ahead and sped this up too. You don't need to see me soldering buttons on. Just solder the leads diagonally and you should be good. We got two buttons on here, soldered on, and we will then go to the PC and show you it working. So again, for the install, you could do, these points here, just drill, put them in, and hot glue, and you're good to go. We have a video of the controller here, and then with that, I have this plugged into my PC. So we just press these buttons. You see them being activated. So 2 and 3, they're being pressed. We press both at the same time, deactivate. And just to show that the control still works, we move these around. See, everything is as expected. So the buttons are done, and then all you have to do is make holes in the back shell and glue these in, and you'll be all set. Just remember when soldering to always use the least amount of heat as possible. 700 to 750 degrees Fahrenheit is the best way, and just be very quick when applying the solder. So let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments, and hope you guys like our mod. We've been doing this now for 7 years, and it's all original, our own design. We love to support you guys whatever way we can. So let me know if you have any questions. We're more than happy to help, and happy gaming.